Okay, well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to UTOOLS, our college prep experience. I'm Joy with Career Transitions Incorporated. We are partnering with the University of Michigan Dearborn to bring these presentations to you along with funding from the Michigan College Access Network. This week, our topic is on college and career exploration, which is presented by Chioki Bracey, who is one of our UTOOLS coordinators. He's been with us for a couple of years now. He has some super beneficial information, stuff that I wish that I had when I was preparing for college in life. A couple of reminders, unless you're speaking, try to keep yourself muted, especially if there's a lot of background noise where you are. And feel free to use the chat if you have questions. If you don't feel comfortable speaking out in the Zoom, you can always use the chat. And if you haven't already, please add your name to the chat and a place that you would love to vacation. And with that, I will turn it over to Alex.
All right, so like Joyce said, again, if you haven't done so already, put your name, email, and dream vacation hotspot in the chat. So as you could see, this week's theme was dream vacation, and as you can see behind me, my dream vacation is downtown Tokyo. I've always wanted to go there. I think it's really cool. Unfortunately, we can't go there. I'm not sure if we can this year because of COVID, but we could kind of pretend with our cool backgrounds and we all kind of talk about our dream hotspots.
I, I want to go to Japan too, and I don't really know why. Like, like my brother, he works for Delta, so like he gets to fly everywhere, and so he took a trip to Tokyo, and he just looked like he had the most fun he ever had in his life. That was last year, and so today on his Instagram page, like he posted some of his memories from the trip, and I was just like, man, I'm mad I didn't make that trip. So soon as everything opens back up, that's just one of the places um, that I want to go. Like it has, like to me, it has the combination of so many things. So like downtown Tokyo, is kind of gives you that hustle and bustle and big lights of New York City. Then of course it has all the culture, and then like I'm not a huge fan of anime, but I'm a big fan of like art and all of those type things. So I think it'd just be an overall cool trip. And then I took Japanese for a year and a half in high school, so that attests exactly what I remember from 1998.
I mean, it is cool, mostly because a lot of the technology in Japan is really advanced, so going there is like going to the future. But yeah. Do you know any Japanese now that you can tell us?
Outside of Ohio gozaimasu and ame ga suyoi desu. Ohio gozaimasu. Hi, how you doing? Um, I forgot what I just said, but that's like how's the weather, and that's all I remember. And the stuff we used to repeat all the time. So like Nina-san, like students, and then sensei, teacher. That's pretty much the extent of it, and I can count to five. Ichi, ni, san, ji, kyu, hachi, loku, like seven. So yeah, I'm probably gonna be totally useless, but that's why we have phones. So I'll just use the translator app. And it's a heavy place for tourists, so they have like a decent amount of people that speak English there to help you navigate wherever it is that you want to go.
So yeah, so I have my nephew lives in Tokyo. My nephew, his name is Michael Carr. He was in the Navy. He came back to the United States, and after he stayed here for about a year and a half, he said, "Nope, I'm going back to
Like
Tokyo."
with that,
So he's been there. Yeah, so he's been there for about he got married, and so he's been there for about the last year. And he says it's a really great place to live. It's a lot of different cultures there. He said you'll see people from all over the world. I did a virtual reality tour in Tokyo, and during the pandemic, and literally there's no one out on the street. So when like how like you said, it has the same feel like of New York City or the hustle and bustle. And I did a tour there, and they were talking about how it is during the pandemic, and all the shops are closed, and so during the virtual reality, you just literally going down the streets and nobody's there. So it's completely different than the way it normally is due to the pandemic. So this is not a good time to travel there, even if you could get there.
Does anyone else want to share?
I want to share.
All right, let's hear it.
I want to go to Russia so I can go to the cathedral because I'm not very religious, but I like to learn about new stuff when it comes to religion because I believe in some stuff, but not all of it.
That's cool. That's cool.
That's it.
Thank you for sharing.
I'll go. I chose Puerto Rico because it's warm and the beaches are beautiful, and I've been there before, but definitely they call it the Island of Enchantment, and it's definitely that.
These are
I'll
places
go.
you want to travel?
What did you say?
I was just saying, this is it was name a place you'd want to travel to.
Yeah. Well, it was a vacation place, so we were supposed to pick a place
Go
we
ahead.
want a vacation. So
Okay, Stephanie, I think was going to go next.
Oh, yeah. I will go. I've been all over the world. I've 20 some countries, I think, last time I counted. But I have some favorites, but seriously, where I keep going back to is right behind me, Universal Studios. I love theme parks. So does my husband. He's probably listening to me laughing at me right now. And we really want to go back in the spring if COVID blows over a little bit, it gets better, but I don't know if that's going to happen, but I can't wait.
is that the one in California or in Florida?
I've never been to the one in California. I think
Oh.
This is the one in Florida.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
This one is bigger, and
Yeah.
they have we stay on the resort hotels,
Uh-huh.
which are right there, and they're really nice, and
Yeah.
it's
I've
just
been to
fun.
the one in Paris, in France. It's not in Paris, it's outside of Paris.
Oh,
It's
the
awesome.
Euro Disney?
Yeah,
Yeah, I've been to that one too.
yeah, it's pretty cool.
I like it.
Wow, that's interesting. Yeah, I was about to say I knew that they had one somewhere else. I had actually gone to Universal Studios about a year ago, and that was the first time I had ever been there, and it was just so much to do. I literally felt like I only was able to explore about 10% of the park. Like, it was just so much to do there. But if I could travel anywhere right now, I think I'd want to go to Alaska for a vacation. I've heard a lot of good things about Alaska. I had a sister who was in the armed forces, and she was telling me how, like the time there works differently. And so you'll have one day full of light, like sunlight, and then there's one day you goes the other way, and you have one day full of night where you don't see the sun. And I just thought to myself, that's just got to be amazing to be able to see something like that. So I want to go there. And then not only that, but I heard the Alaska cruise was really nice.
All right, so Richard, I'm going to call on you because I'm curious about that picture behind you.
Greatest wrestler of all time.
Okay, so I didn't have like a vacation background in my photo gallery, so I just chose the first thing I could find, and this is what I could find. All I found was Undertaker, so that's why I did that. But I chose China. No, not China. I chose Japan as my vacation getaway because to be honest, I've never been anywhere outside of the United States, so Japan would be my first choice, and then maybe China. A big maybe on that one because
I think that's everybody. Does anyone else want to share before we start?
I chose Aruba. We went to Aruba, probably about 7 or 8 years ago. And that was by far just the best vacation that we've ever been on. And we always said that if we could move anywhere else in the world, we'd move there.
All right, guys. Well, welcome to UTOOLS. It's the most wonderful time of the year. This is one of my favorite programs to work. My name is Chioki Bracey. I am currently serving as a high school counselor and 8th to 9th grade transitional specialist for Fitzgerald High School in Warren. My background, I have over 15 plus years of college and career readiness. My bachelor's degree I received from the University of Michigan, Dearborn, and that is in communication with a focus on electronic media, which covers everything from graphic design to web design to writing and filming movies and commercials, all of that stuff, music production, the whole nine. And then my master's I received from the University of Detroit Mercy in school counseling. So my journey was an interesting one, and this is one of the reasons why I kind of found myself specializing in college and career readiness. I really didn't choose this as a career. This is one of the careers that kind of chose me. And I'll kind of share some of my personal story as we go along, because my whole aim in doing college and career readiness presentations is kind of like Joy said, like I wish I would have had some of this information or this mind frame when I was preparing myself for college, and I could have saved myself a lot of time, and I could have saved somebody a lot of money. I didn't have to pay for my undergraduate college, and so I'm thankful for that. But I could have tightened that package up and moved it a little better. So my approach is kind of different because I kind of blow up the idea of college and career readiness, and then I kind of put it back together where it makes sense, because I believe the general way that it's presented is not truthful. It's well-meaning, but it's not truthful. And the educational system in general has kind of been the same way for years and years and years and years and years and years and years. So some of the technology has changed, but the general way that we talk about life after high school, or the general tracks that we follow, pretty much have stayed the same over the course of education. You can't find any other industry that stays like that, that stays the same. So I believe that there are some adjustments, and since I haven't got my doctorate yet to be a part of making those adjustments, I'll give you guys the game so you can make the adjustments on your own. So since we're talking about our dream vacations, I want you guys to think of your dream lifestyle. So just take a couple of seconds and think of your dream lifestyle. And by lifestyle, I mean every aspect of it. The family aspect. You know, do you want a family? Do you want kids? Do you want to live with your favorite cousin? All of that type of stuff. Where you would like to live. What type of things you would like to have in your house, or what type of things you would like to have exposure to, like all of those things. Just think about those things for a second, the same way we thought about our dream vacations. Now that you have that in your head, I want to point out a couple of things. So just like Miss Katie was saying, like she's been to 20 some odd countries, but she always finds herself going back to Universal Studios. Now, can you get to Japan driving a car? No. Can you drive a car to Universal Studios? It might not be ideal for Michigan, but yes, you can. Can you take a plane to Universal Studios? Yes, you can. Can you take a Disney cruise and have them swoop you back around to the Florida mainland, hop off the boat, and go to Universal Studios? Yes, you can. There are multiple ways to get to Universal Studios. And so what I feel that we do sometimes with college and career readiness, we make college and career the destination as opposed to a way of getting to our ideal lifestyle. So we'll teach kids like, you got to go to college, you got to go to college, you got to go to college. And then you guys get to college and we kind of dump you off and you don't know what to do from there. And so since you view it as a destination as opposed to a means to get to the next step, then you have people that get to college and deal with major anxiety because they're not doing as well academically in college as they were in high school. Or you have kids that get there and they drop out because they feel like this is the end all be all. And if I don't do good in these classes, I'm not going to do anything in my life. So I might as well drop out and count my losses and try to do something else. So I want you guys to change your vision or your view of college and career readiness and change it from a destination and change it to instead a vehicle to get you where you want to go, how you want your lifestyle to be. And so I'm going to share something real quick. Perry, do me a favor, keep an eye on the chat for me, just in case somebody has a question, please, sir. Thank you. So one of the things that I want to do is kind of change the terminology from college and career readiness to goal awareness and readiness, because I want you guys to think with the real end in mind. And that way you can plan out your college and career track better when you have a goal in mind. So you know finally where it is that you want to be. So the path to your goals, I want to cover a couple of things. The first thing that I want to cover is the myth that you have to go to college to get a good job, or you have to go to college to be successful. Now, going to college can help you be successful. It can help you get access to better jobs and better wages as far as coming in at an entry-level position. But that is not the only way to be successful. And I think sometimes we fail students, or we fail each other when we push college or a four-year college as the only option, when there are so many more options to be successful. Examples, you can go to, I'll give an example in my life. Everybody that I knew wanted to go to the University of Michigan, Ann Arbor, because it's a top-tier school. But for me, the better option was to go to the University of Michigan, Dearborn, for a number of reasons. Number one, it was less money because I did not have to pay for room and board. Another reason was University of Michigan, Dearborn had multiple scholarships that I can use at the same time. So when I was going to the University of Michigan, Dearborn, I had 2 scholarships. One of the scholarships was a full ride, so it covered all of my tuition, all of my lab fees, and all of those associated fees. And then I had another scholarship that gave me an extra $4,000 each semester. So when I put those 2 scholarships together, my classes and everything were covered. My books were covered by the second scholarship, which meant I had an extra about $3,000 each semester clear and free. They weren't loans. I didn't have to pay it back. So it was a better choice for me. Now, at the same time, I'm standing here and I have 2 degrees and I'm making okay money, but I had a situation go on with my furnace and I had to call somebody out to fix my furnace. And when that person came out to fix my furnace, they made more money in an hour than I made in a couple of hours. And they did not go to college. They came in, they went to a trade school, they learned to trade, and then they got an apprenticeship, and then they finally started their own business. So his fee just to show up is $150. I show up and I'm making roughly around $26, $27 an hour. So he came in, showed up, got paid, and then he got paid for what he had to do once he got here, and he left. Not a college graduate, but he had a career path and a skill that allows him to make money off of that. So I don't want you guys to think that you have to go to college to get a good job or to earn good money. There are different paths that you can take. So let's dispel that myth and let's open our minds up. Which takes us to the truth. There are several ways to reach your dream lifestyle and or your dream career. And it's up to us to find out what those paths are. And we're going to talk about a couple of ways to do that. And then the last thing is to build the bridge. So I think of it like this. Anything that you do in life, life is not guaranteed to always be good to you. So sometimes we paint the picture like, yeah, you're going to graduate high school. If you get good grades in high school, then somebody's going to pay for you to go to college. You're going to go to college. You're going to graduate in 4 years. And then when you come out, people are going to be banging down your door to give you job opportunities. And that's how we kind of paint that picture. But the reality is anything in life will have ups and downs, bumps. I think of it like an ocean. Like there are tides that come in, and sometimes, you know, when you're first trying, I don't know if any of you have ever been in an ocean before, but the waves in the ocean can be super rough and hard. And then sometimes you get out in the middle of the ocean and things die down and it's nice, smooth sailing, and then it can get rough again. So my job tonight is to teach you guys how to build a bridge so you don't have to deal with a lot of that turbulence that goes on in the water. Now, can you hop in a boat? Can you hop in the boat of college? Can you hop in the boat of career or technical training? Can you hop in the boat of teaching yourself and go somewhere? Yes, you can. But if you can build a bridge to avoid some of those rough waters, why not build the bridge? Okay. So let's take our mind from college and career readiness to goal readiness. And so college and career readiness sometimes reinforces that going to college or getting a career is the final destination. And that's not the final destination. There is life after college, guys. Like, and a lot of us in this Zoom can tell you, like, once you get that degree, it doesn't make everything magically turn into roses, and like your pumpkin turns into a magical carriage and you get glass slippers. That's not the case. So college is not the final destination. The career that you get coming out of college, or the career that you get after high school, is not a final destination. Sometimes you'll find yourself moving on to bigger and better opportunities, and all of those opportunities should be pushing you towards the quality of life that you want to have. And so although college can be integral parts of our journey, they are not the final destination. All right. So goal readiness. Goal readiness, in my mind, focuses on our varying goals. So that's our educational goals, our career goals, our relationship goals, our lifestyle goals, all of those things. So we're focusing on how we want to live in general, and then we're able to better place those pieces of, where do I go to college if I want my life to be like this? Or what kind of career should I have if I want my life to be like this? And so it uses college and career as bridges or vehicles to get us to those goals easier. So these are 4 steps that I developed for goal readiness. The first step is to evaluate where you are. Again, if we are thinking about this in terms of our dream destination, and we're saying, okay, I want to go to Japan. I know I got to go to Japan. So I have to evaluate where I am as far as where am I in my finances. Can I afford to go there? When I need to get there, do I have the skills to survive there? Like, do I have the ability to either speak Japanese or have a piece of technology that can translate for me? All of those things I have to take into account before I make that trip. So evaluating, the first thing we want to think, what am I passionate about? So we're thinking about where we are right now today in regards to getting towards our goals through career in college. What am I passionate about? And this is the main thing I want everybody to know. This is the main thing that I push. You have to be passionate if you're planning on going to college. And if you're planning on working this career, you have to have a passion for it. Because the passion is what will give you the drive to make it through the ups and downs, the rough times and the hard times. So my personal story, when I was in high school, I was really good at math. I was really good at science. I was good at English. I was good at just about all the materials that were in high school. And because I was good at those things, people assumed that I liked those things. I hated math, unless it had to do with counting money, and I didn't like science. But because I was good at them, everybody was like, man, Chioke, you're so good at math and science. So what happened was I went to see my high school counselor, and it was my first time seeing her like in 2 years. And she sat me down and she was reviewing my grades and everything. She said, you got a really great GPA, your ACT score is great. You should be an engineer. She said, there really is a major push for Black engineers, and they got a lot of money for Black students, especially Black males who want to be engineers. You're good at math, science, be an engineer. And at that point, I had not evaluated what I really liked to do or what I was good at or any of those things. I was good at high school because if I brought home anything less than a B, my mama would be tripping. Like, she would go crazy. Sidebar, I started wrestling in high school, and I was so excited to wrestle. And so I went through 3 months of training in high school to get ready. And then the day my mom came to the school to drop off my wrestling shoes and my new headgear and all of that stuff for me to go to the meet, she pulled my report card and saw that I had a C in English. And so they called me down to the office, and I'm telling all my friends, like, bet my mama here with all my stuff. And I got in the office and she said, you got a C in English. I'm taking all this back. And I had to quit wrestling because I had a C. That's how drastic grades were in my house. So I got good grades because I didn't want to hear my mama mouth. But I didn't like any of those subjects. So what happened was I went to the University of Michigan, Dearborn, on an engineering scholarship, and I dropped out the beginning of my 3rd year because I had no interest in engineering. So one of my engineering design classes, the teacher was from a foreign country. I can't remember where he was from, but English was like his 4th language. So I would sit in class with him for 2 hours, and he would talk, and it was hard for me to understand what he was saying because English was his 4th language and his accent was very heavy. And so I did not have the desire to try to understand what he was saying. And so I was just like, forget it, I don't want to do this anyway. So I stopped going to the class. And so I ended up dropping out of school. And so I'll put a pin right there. So what are you passionate about? When you're passionate about something, you'll keep pushing. I'll put it to you like this. Anybody that's ever had a boyfriend or a girlfriend or been in a relationship, if you really, really love that person, if you're really, really passionate about that person, sometimes you'll put up with a lot of stuff. Or even if it's not romantic, it just be family. My brother used to get on my nerves, but I would still put up with him because he was my brother and I loved him. Same thing. If I had a passion for engineering, I would have put up with my teacher not being able to speak English well. I would have put up with the late hours that it took for studying and all of those things. I would have put up with it because I was passionate about it and I loved it. But since I wasn't passionate about it and I wasn't in love with it, I dumped it. Like, forget you, engineering, I'm dumping you, and I'm gonna take some time to be by myself and get myself together. All right, so when you're passionate about something, you're more likely to stick with it. Next, you need to evaluate what skills do I have? Listen, passion and skill are 2 different things, and they don't always meet. So some of us can be passionate about things, but if we don't have the skill to do those things or the fortitude to do those things, then we might not want to do those things. I hear this one a lot. Mr. Bracey, I want to be a doctor. Okay, well, what kind of doctor do you want to be? I want to be a surgeon. Okay, great. But I don't like blood, though. Like, the sight of blood make me want to pass out. Then that's not the career for you. Mr. Bracey, I want to be a pediatrician. Okay, great. But I don't like kids. That's a horrible career decision. Because you're passionate about medicine, but you don't have the skills or the tolerance to go along with the particular medicine that you want. So if you're passionate about medicine, maybe you want to be a pharmacist, or maybe you want to be a nurse that doesn't work in a pediatric hospital so you don't have to deal with kids. Or if you're passionate about medicine and you don't like blood, maybe you want to work in medical billing, or maybe you want to work in pharmaceuticals where you don't have to deal with the blood aspect. So we need to figure out what our passions are and our skills are, and then we need to find where those things intersect. And normally where those things intersect are the points where you will be successful. So I'm good at math and I really like math. I'm passionate about math and I'm passionate about helping people understand how to work through math problems. So my passion is helping people understand how to work through math problems. My skill is that I'm great at math. What do those 2 things cross? A math teacher, a math professor, a private tutor. Or maybe you're creating online content like Khan Academy, those type of things. So when you find where your passion and your skills intersect, that will help you know where you will be most successful. And then lastly, I put on the list, and I kind of talked about it earlier, what do I love or hate? Listen, you need to determine, because most of us know it already, what we are not willing to do. And so once we know what we are not willing to do just in general, then we'll know what career choices and college choices we can take to make our lives as good as we want them to be. So I don't like to argue with people at all. So me being a lawyer, not a great idea. Me being on the Real Housewives of Atlanta, Real Housewives of Orange County, or any type of reality show, not a good idea, because I don't like to argue. I would be boring and I would get kicked off. All right. So what I want us to do real quick, if you guys have the ability to, I'm going to put this link in the chat, and there are a number of these sites that you can do. And so basically what this is a free one. And so basically what these assessments do, they ask you a bunch of random questions about what you like and what you don't like. And then based off of how you answer those questions, they give you suggestions on careers that you might want to look at. Now, there are a couple of things to keep in mind. Number one, these tests are not 100% foolproof. The suggestions that you get are just that. They are suggestions. So you might find something on there like, no, I wouldn't want to do that. It's just a suggestion. Number two, you might want to do this more than once because what you like may change. So for me, I thought engineering was cool as long as all I had to do was design cars. I love that part, going into the 3D CAD program and designing the car and designing the parts. That was extremely fun to me. I could do that for hours and hours and hours on end. I got an A+ in that class. But I quickly found out that my feelings about engineering changed when I had to determine what kind of metal that part would be made out of. So my thing was, I just wanted to look good. I don't care if somebody hit it and it fall apart. I just wanted to look good. So my feelings about engineering changed once I got new information. So these type of tests, you might want to take them and do them again sometime later. So if you guys have access to, can you guys all get on this link and go through the test real quick? It takes about 10 minutes. So I'm going to go in there real quick and then I'm going to share my screen. This is just a test that I found. And so what you can do is click the button for take the free career test. And then down here, you'll see these yellow boxes. These are the questions. So you just click the answer and go down and hit next. So there's 15 pages of questions. There's 4 questions on each page, but it goes pretty fast because it's like either you're interested, slightly interested, or not interested. So guys, go ahead and go through that real quick, and then we'll look at you can look at the results and save them. Now guys, as you do this, if you write down this code, you can always come back and view them again. But if you click view your results, it'll bring the results up. And then if you scroll down right here, you'll see it says your free career test results. And then it lets you know. Interest level is your percentage. So my top one was multimedia, which goes along with what it is that I've been doing in connection with me working as a school counselor. My first degree is in multimedia. Then my second interest level was education. So that shows that I'm working where I'm working now. The arts was my third one. Public service, so forth and so on. So does anyone want to share what some of their results were?
That was pretty interesting.
So for those of us who are already working in our careers, did the results of your test line up with what you're doing now?
Mine did exactly. Mine did perfectly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mine did
I'm still
somewhat.
going mine.
Okay, keep going, Giovanni. That's cool. So sometimes, what I'll say is sometimes these tests, they're limited only in that each test has its own bank of responses. And so your answers will always have to fall within one of the responses that they already have. So if you look at some of the more thought out tests that you have to pay for, like a Myers-Briggs or things like that, they have a lot more options for you to go through. So if you guys use like Career Cruising or a Zello now at your schools, that's a good tool to kind of use to kind of gauge your interest. And remember, these things aren't final. So what your answers are today might be something different tomorrow. But our main goal is to connect those things and bring them together. So I'm going to give you guys a couple of more seconds to go through there. And if you don't finish, that's fine. I just want you guys to see what one of these tests look like so you'll be familiar with it. All right. So next up, you want to explore. So now that we have evaluated where we are and we know who we are and what it is that we like, what we don't like, and we have a solid idea, once we take these type of personal inventories or career tests, that'll kind of give us an idea of where we could go. And now it's up to us to explore those options. And so this is where career exploration comes in, college exploration, and those things come in. And so my daughter is in kindergarten right now, and they are studying the 5 W's: the who, what, when, where, why, and then you throw in the H, the how. So as you explore where you want to go, I want you to think about these things. Who is already there, or who has been there, or who is going there? And by there, I mean the career that you want to go to, the college that you want to go to, the lifestyle that you want to go to. I put the who first because in reality, in the world, it is sadly, or not sadly for me, but it's about who you know, more so about who you know than what you know. And so networking is extremely important. And networking does not require a college degree. Networking only requires the skill that you are able to present yourself in the best light possible, and that you have some way to communicate with others. So whether that's person-to-person communication or written communication, however you communicate, being able to communicate to somebody that, hey, this is where I want to go in life, and I want to connect with you because I feel like you will be valuable to me moving forward in this area. So next, what does it take to get there? How much time do I have to put in? How much effort and what type of effort do I have to put in? So time-wise, I get a lot of students, Mr. Bracy, I want to be a doctor. Well, what kind of doctor you want to be? I want to be a neurosurgeon. Okay, well, that's cool. That's going to be 4 years of undergrad, plus 4 years of medical school, plus another 2 to 4 years of whatever your specialty is, and then plus another 2 years of working as an apprentice or as working in a hospital on an internship. So now what they thought they could get in 4 years, they find out that it actually takes around 8 years to get to that level. And so some people are like, I'm not willing to put in that amount of time. And here's another thing. A lot of times people will show, okay, well, if you get a college degree, you can make this much money, or surgeons make this much money. But they don't tell you the time that it takes to get to that level of pay. So as soon as you graduate from med school, you're not going to be making $100,000 or so, depending on where you work. So that time and that effort is a really important part on determining where you're going. When will it change? So is this industry changing? Am I trying to get a job that will be out of place in a couple of years? Here's an example. Going into technology is a great idea. If you're going into coding, if you're going into production. But if your career aspirations is to be a VCR repairman, that counts as technology, but nobody's using VCRs anymore. And so what happens is sometimes we make the mistake of basing our career goals off of what's hot right now, as opposed to looking at what's going to be hot in a couple of years. Especially in times like now, with Corona and all the things that are going on now, a lot of industries have fell off. So I believe it was Polaroid was the company. Polaroid, or whatever company it was, I'm going to say Polaroid, but their stock shot through the roof overnight because Polaroid, for those of you who don't know, Polaroid used to be, I got to put my camera on this. Polaroid was a camera company, and they used to make cameras where when you took the picture, it would shoot the picture out of the bottom of the picture, and then you would have to shake the picture like this, and as the air hit it, like the picture would develop, and you could give a person their picture right then and there, as opposed to the technology that was around where you would have to take the film, go in a dark room and develop it and do all of those things. And then as we know, with the invention of camera phones and Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and AirDrop, like a lot of people aren't getting their pictures printed anymore because why print it when I could put it on Instagram? So Polaroid stock had went down because not a lot of people were still using Polaroid cameras. Now there were some people who had nostalgia for it and would like it, like I just prefer to do this to my pictures and get it or whatever. But the majority of people were using their cell phones. But what Polaroid was able to do is that when Corona happened, Polaroid switched over their factories from making those cameras, since it wasn't profitable anymore, into making ventilators and making masks and all type of PPE or personal, whatever it is, protection that will be useful in coronavirus. So now they're way more useful because they were able to use their facilities that they had and the resources that they had to change over into a new industry. So I don't want you guys chasing things that will be obsolete just because it's hot now. So what's hot now might not be hot 5-10 years from now, or it might not be hot once you graduate. And there's nothing worse than going to college for 3 years only to find out by the time that you graduate that that industry won't exist anymore. So the 60, 70, 80, 100,000 that you thought you would be making out of college, you're not making that anymore because nobody's doing that anymore. Okay? Let's go back to here. So who's already there? Who's been there? Who's going there? What does it take to get there? When will they change? Where are the hot spots? So different careers require you to move to different areas if you want the most out of that career. So I have students that say, Mr. Bracy, I want to go into fashion. Okay, going into fashion is great if you have a passion for it. But you also have to recognize that if you're going to be in the fashion, you need to be where the fashion industry is big. So you need to be in LA. You need to be in, I was about to say Detroit, not Detroit. You need to be in New York. You need to be in Tokyo. You need to be in Paris. You need to be somewhere where fashion is hot and you can get your hands on all the tools that you would need or meet the people and make the connections that you would need to be successful in those industries if you're thinking about doing it in a major way. Okay? Why? Why do I want to be there? Your purpose, your drive. What is your drive? Because a lot of people, when I talk to them about career or college, their drive, when I talk to people about college, their drive is, I like the colors. I like the basketball team. My cousin went there and it seemed fun. Those things will swiftly fade away once you realize that before you can get to the college fund, you have to sit through 12 credit hours a day and do an extra 3 hours after that of homework. So why do you want to be there? If you're only chasing the money, then I can almost guarantee you that you will not be happy. So we have to remember our purpose and our drive. And then the last thing that I want you to do, I want you guys to think of how can I make this space my own? And this is very important because this takes us into the idea of working with a niche. And this is where I'll stop. And so what a niche is, some people say niche, some people say niche or whatever. Like it's two different things. It's like, Perry, what was that word we were talking about earlier? Pedagogy and pedagogy. Like it's a couple of different ways to say it. But everybody out here, they say niche. And what a niche is basically something that you specialize in within a particular industry. And it's a space that you make your own. That is how you make money. You make a space your own. You go into a career and you make that space your own. And so an example of that is myself and how I work. So I only take jobs where I know I can be myself. So my degree is in communication. So I am very much capable of speaking at a certain level and using big words that a lot of people don't know or being extremely professional. But I prefer to work in settings where I can be myself. I prefer to work in settings where when I come on a Zoom or I get in front of people, if I feel like saying, what up, doe, I can say, what up, doe, instead of good afternoon, everyone. Like, I like to work in those type of environments because those are the type of environments that I shine in. Okay? And so I've created a niche for myself, and most of the people that hire me, they hire me because I'm able to code switch. So I'm able to take content from a professional level and break it down to a level where high school students who live in an urban area understand. And when I first started, my specialty, like I got hired all the time to work in inner city areas. So if you had African-American students, especially African-American males, they would call me like, Bracy, number one, you black, you a guy, you grew up in the same environment, you know how to talk to them in a way that I can't communicate with them. So I'm going to pay you this ridiculous amount of money to tell them the stuff that they're not listening to me. And so I'm saying the same exact thing that your teacher, your principal, your counselor, your social worker has been saying, but because I say it in a way that they understand, they receive it and I get paid for it. That's my niche. Now, recently at my current place of employment, the population is split. So it's not all African-American students. We have a large Bengali population. So I have picked up the skills and learned the nuances of Bengali culture and how to approach certain topics with Bengali parents and things like that. So that's something that people are starting to look at me for now, like, okay, well, now he has another niche market that he can work with. And so what I want you guys to do is begin to think of the special skills that you have, or the special ways that you have of doing things, the special ways you have of communicating, the special ideas that you have, and then put it in the market that you're working in. And that'll be your niche. And once you find out what your niche is, I guarantee you that's the way to make money. Real quick story, and I'll stop right here on the importance of niche. When I dropped out of U of M Dearborn, I was gone for 4 years. And during that time, I used the skills that I picked up from working with Mr. Boyd and doing presentations for youth and all of those type of things. And I ended up with only a high school diploma and some college credits, getting a contract with the city of Detroit to do anti-drug and alcohol prevention programming. My first contract that I got with them was for $60,000. And the span of the contract was for the summer. So working from the end of May until the beginning of August, $60,000. I don't make $60,000 now with 2 degrees. I went to college 3 times, got 2 degrees, and I'm making less money now than I made in 3 months working in my niche market. And so with that, because I knew what my niche market was and I knew what I was able to do with that market, I was able to get that contract. And I had friends that had master's degrees that were waiting on job callbacks that didn't have jobs. And I was able to say, yo, I know you got that master's degree and you know I'm a dropout, but look, this is what I'm gonna do. Since you unemployed and I'm running my own company now, I'm gonna hire you and pay you $100 per hour to hand out flyers. I had a friend whose master's degree was in English. I was like, you know what? I got a summer camp coming up. Can I pay you to do a writing workshop? Paid her, she did the writing workshops. So when you determine what your niche is, you can make money. So now what I do is in my regular day-to-day job, I don't make that much money. But because I know what my niche market is, I'm able to work with programs that allow me to be myself and do what I do. So I'm able to work with University of Michigan, Dearborn Gear Up. I'm able to work with Upward Bound. I'm able to work with UTOOLS. I'm able to work with all of these different people because I have found what my niche is and I'm making my niche work in the career that I have, and I'm living like I want to live. Like my house isn't ridiculous, but I never wanted a big house. I wanted a house with enough room for me and my daughter to have our own separate rooms, and I have my own area and she has her own area. So I'm living like I want to live. I'm driving the kind of car that I would like to drive until I get more money. Then my taste in cars might get a little more expensive. But for right now, this Nissan Altima is working just fine for me. So I want you guys to remember, as you think about college and career, don't think of it as the final destination. You have to build from your place of passion. And then once you find your passion, you can say, how can a college or a career help me live out this passion? So if medicine is your passion, okay, well, let me find a college that has a medical program. Let me go there and explore this passion. And then let me find out through exploring in college, exploring this passion, I can find out what career I want to go to in medicine. So whether it's I want to be a pediatrician, or whether I want to be a nurse practitioner, or whether I want to be a neurosurgeon, or whether I want to just be an anesthesiologist. I want to come in and put them to sleep and leave back out. So remember, think about college and career as a vehicle or as a bridge to get you to where you want to go in life. and not just as the final destination. And if you guys have any questions about exploring, so let's say after a couple of days, you'd be like, okay, Mr. Bracy, I found my passion. Now I want to know, like, how do I find a career that matches that? Or how do I find what college to go to get this career? That's another lengthy conversation. I'll be glad to have that conversation with you via email, or schedule a group Google Meet and walk you guys through that also. But I always want you guys to know that you have to start with your passion, because that's what will give you the longevity to go. If you go chasing money or picking a career because that's the popular career at the time, you'll be disappointed. You'll drop out of college and be gone for 4 years like I was. All right. So any questions? All right, good. If you guys have any questions, feel free to email me and I will reply as soon as I can and give you any more information that you need to know. I'm here for the long haul, guys. I'm here to help. I'm not just here for today. I am official UTOOLS partner. So whenever y'all need me, y'all can email me and I'll be glad to help you guys out.
Thank you so much, Chioke. That was awesome. And we'd love to have you back again sometime.
No problem.
Thank you. I agree with everything you said. I really did. It really hit home there.
So if none of the other students have any questions, just a couple of things. Next week, December 8th, 5 o'clock, we'll be speaking about, we have a speaker who's going to be talking about how to apply to college and what kinds of things you should put in your college essays, because some of the schools require essays. The speaker is Dr. Theda Gibbs Gray from Ohio University. And she's a graduate of the University of Michigan. So she's worked, comes from Michigan pretty much, right? Is that right, Perry? Yeah. And we also will post, if Chioke, if you can give a copy of your PowerPoint presentation to Perry, we'll post it on the website. And as soon as we close up this, Alex will post a link to our website and our Facebook page and our Instagram. So if anybody wants to put anything there, I would ask all the youth who are here if you would be willing to go down to the bottom of your screen where it has reactions and let Chioke know what you thought of his presentation today.
Also, real quick, before we end, we do have a poll for you guys. So if you can please fill those out.
And hopefully we'll see you all next week. And if you have any friends you want to invite, more the merrier.
And yeah, these are all our websites and social media. So if you can, please be sure to follow all our social media to make sure, you're up to date with everything. And if you've missed any sessions at all, be sure to follow our YouTube channel. Here we'll be posting all of our recorded sessions to make sure you're up to date. And if you miss any polls as well, in the description we'll be having a Google form so you could fill out the polls in case you missed any of the polls from our last sessions.
Thank you, everybody, and good night.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of the evening.